Hey, uh, I guess I'm gonna put these away, and now I'm gonna put some music on before I forget it, like I did before. Let me know if the sound is okay with the levels and everything, as I can kind of keep listening to my own voice as I'm talking. That is so distracting. I've tried it a few times, and it's impossible. I think this should be it. It's pretty damn loud. Okay. I think I can live with this. I'm so nervous. Maybe it's because I haven't done a live stream in some time. I was in this YouTuber conference thingy that has been now going on for pretty much the entire fall, where like all the Nordic YouTubers are in these really good, highly valuable lectures. One of them was about live streaming, and afterwards there is this sort of like chill out area where people just usually talk about the topic at hand, and it's a nice way to talk with actual YouTubers. And one of the people there said that like they are live streaming every single week, and they have been doing that for like 3 years or something consistently. And I was like, okay, the worst YouTuber ever. I have no right to feel overworked, considering how rarely I do these live streams. But then I was thinking about what kind of live stream I should do, and of course there are like interesting stuff happening in graphics. There is this Adobe Max conference that just wrapped up, I think, yesterday. And those lectures have been really good. If you have any kind of Creative Cloud membership, I highly recommend that you watch those. It happens every year, and you don't have to pay anything extra if you have a Creative Cloud. And the talks are honestly so good that I would pay for 1 month of Creative Cloud just to access the talks if it wasn't available to me. What am I saying? Yeah, so there are all these technical things that are happening, and I guess people on the internet always want to know what kind of developments are happening with tools and stuff. And then I thought, like, well, could I practice using some of these new tools? And I just really felt uninspired to talk about tech at all. And this just went on, and I thought that I should just do a live stream and just paint something, like literally anything, to get over this idea that I need to make specific kind of content, because I really felt uninspired to do. I don't think most people here are for the in-depth tech talks anyway. So there is this kind of push and pull with this channel, because whenever I talk about topics that are, like for example tools, they usually get a lot of traffic because people are interested in tools because they think that the tools will solve all of their art problems. But I'm really more interested in art because that's where the real solutions are and what I find more interesting. I guess if I started making content about just purely technical stuff, the channel would die pretty soon because I wouldn't be passionate about it. Also, I've had this like weird feeling of like not being productive because I've been working on my video series for Painting Without Line Art, a full breakdown of Sky Garden Academy, which is like a 4-hour video series, and it has taken me like weeks and weeks to produce, and I'm so happy that it's like finally done. All I need to now finish is like the promo materials for it before I release it. But like long projects, they can be like rough. I think I've learned a lot during the whole process. And I guess when I started making it, I thought that it would be easier than it was. But doing 1 hour of video is like a whole different ball game than doing 10 or 20 minutes of video. I can even see like the difference between those. Like when I do a 20-minute video, I'm just like completely mentally drained. But when I do a 10-minute video, the editing process can still feel like fun to me. And I think those are sometimes like more fun to watch, because in the process of editing out everything, I kind of cut out all the excess stuff. So how is everybody doing? Mikir Yates. Is it Yates? Yes. I like your style of art, Mikko. Thank you. NFT talk. I think I've talked about NFTs on every single live stream for almost a year now. Maybe we can kind of not go into it this time. You could stop here and make a poster. Well, probably not. I'm gonna put the line art layer to lower opacity because it is so overpowering that I'm afraid that it would affect my colors. And here, as a paper texture, I have 100% opacity overlay layer, and this for the members, because I already saw the pause and bear icons in the chat. So if you got the paper texture set, you also have this exact paper if you have already downloaded it. And somebody asked a specific tutorial on how to apply these, and I can make a separate video tutorial, but basically, since you are all here already, and I can just show it really quickly. I'm gonna get really busy later on with the painting and stuff, but so when you have your overlay layer of your paper texture, or whatever blend mode you choose to use, I like overlay because then I don't need to have separate layers for paper texture for light and dark sections. That is something that I could do in editing phase. Okay, I'm getting like super detailed here already. It's way too much information. So I make a layer mask for it, and then I make a rectangular selection. This is just because this is fast. And then I hit it with black color. Just like so. Okay, and as you can see, I have already done this for this paper texture, but now that I am zoomed in here really close and I can see this like edge of this paper texture, it doesn't change the values. But the way that I have tweaked this is that once I have this layer mask, I go back into the paper texture layer and then into curves. And this is white paper, so originally it looked something like this. But then I manipulate the curves so that I get the overall values, so that when I zoom out and I squint so that I don't see the paper texture, then I don't see my square anymore. That's when I know that I have hit the value balance correctly, and I'm only like slightly punching the shadows darker and creating those highlights where I want to. So now I can keep painting with the paper texture in there, and I have more information about how the final piece is going to look with the paper texture on there, while being able to color pick. This will slightly affect the colors, but not that much. Don't worry about the NFTs. It's just I get so many emails about NFTs. I got three different guys sent me these like, I can sell your NFTs on these platforms emails in one day. And it's gotten to the point that I read the first sentence, and if the first sentence isn't bringing out the topic that I have been talking about, then I just ignore it, because clearly they are just fishing for different artists for profit. Yeah. Time is really my most valuable resource. Like, I really do mean it. And once you start making content online, there is this weird thing that happens, that people start contacting you for these like business proposals, and at first you're like, wow, I'm so happy that people are actually noticing that I exist and are contacting me this way. But then in a few months you will realize that it's all just people like trying to exploit the platform that you have taken years to build. And at this point, I can pretty much tell from the header if the email is worth opening or not. Can you please try using Ibis Paint? It's a painting program. Like, it's pretty much similar to Procreate. I don't think the tools really matter that much. It's more about what you do with them. Or not more. It's only about what you do with them. I do encourage to experiment with different types of tools when they allow for different types of like creative outlets. Like for example, this week I have been learning more about 3D sculpting on iPad, because I think it would be really nice to do that on a touch screen, and I really don't want to drag my Cintiq here in this already crowded workroom. I had 9 minutes before this live stream, and during that entire time I was basically battling to get the cords of this PC and this PC untangled, because I was using both to create assets for this live stream so that I could render them quickly enough. But when it's just the same program that is doing basically the same thing, like a different painting application that is for painting, then I think it doesn't really make sense to spend a lot of time switching between those unless there's like a very distinct advantage in one over the other. Like for example, as I have said many times in this channel already, I do all of my color editing in Photoshop because it's just a better program, because it was built for editing. I wouldn't paint in it anymore. How large can you print one of your pieces without pixelation in Procreate? Well, that depends. I always recommend that people go into the canvas settings and look at this crop and resize window. I already saw that there's 23 layers, so that seems promising. Then you go into settings, and here I have a too low DPI, so I'm gonna set that to 300. But if you use these windows for setting the resolution, you can go here on the left side of the screen and actually choose the print size that you want. So for this piece, because I am doing a live stream version, I usually use like about 10 times more layers than I would use if I was painting when I'm not in a live stream. But because this is a live stream, I'm gonna keep that flexibility with the layers. So I'm gonna keep it here. But if I was painting for myself, I would probably ramp this number up to the kind of print size that I want. And here in the centimeters, you can see the exact units of like what your target print is going to be. Oops, heading on the wrong layer. Yikes. Okay. Yeah, I do want to keep this stuff. Because so bad at multitasking and focusing on speaking and painting and managing layers. It's usually the layer management that like is the first thing to go out of the window in all of these sessions, and honestly it's not as important as me being awake or painting during these sessions. So I really just don't worry about the layer structure. If there are details or stuff like that that I need to have proper layer structure for, I can sort all of that out later in the editing phase or when I'm painting details after the stream is over. But there's also the issue of layer management when it comes to the hardware capabilities. If you're using the newer versions of iPad Pro, then you probably have a lot more resolution to work with, but that's not always a great thing. I don't think you should aim for creating the biggest scale paintings possible, because it does come at the cost of how long it takes to paint, depending on how scalable your brushes are and how much that ends up taking time, or if you're working against that layer limit, like I often am working against the layer limit because I am usually uploading a lot of my artwork to InPrint to sell as prints. So in most of my paintings, I am thinking about having a print product at the end of the day for whatever reason, or if somebody wants to license that piece to use for some purpose. So my goal professionally is to do those print resolution versions of the work. But to work so closely like against that layer limit, it does cause a lot of like these sort of like puzzle situations where I have to employ like all of my know-how of how to take advantage of that of the layers that I have and the selections that I have available. It's sometimes like doing a block puzzle, and I don't think that is necessary stuff to learn when you are just either painting to learn to paint or painting for fun. Then I don't recommend that you always go like that extreme with the resolution, especially if you're not working on hardware that makes that easy. Like soon none of this will like be at all relevant to you, because you will have such affordable cheap devices that will be able to paint more than this device that I'm using right now ever can, quite easily, and the brush sizes don't have any limitations. Technology is advancing so fast that like these things are going to be a thing of the past quite soon. somebody's asking about the brush. This is Honey brush from Brushes for Painters. Mikko, any coloring tips? I found myself very dumb at picking colors. Pick less colors and try to learn one color at a time. The most common mistake that beginners make when they start to learn colors is that they use all of them at once. It's really difficult to use many colors in a painting, so if it feels like you can't manage the amount of colors that you have in your painting, try seeing which hues you can cut. In the art school that I went to, we had many exercises where we would paint with just one color and then we would switch to a different color. And it was all about finding all the different variations of hue within that one color in one painting. And while at the time those felt really challenging, I can now appreciate that those were really helpful exercises, and I highly recommend anybody to do that. Does anybody know what size iPad he uses? I'm using the 12, is it 12.9? It's the bigger one of the two iPad Pros. Clip Studio Paint is not unlimited. I also use Clip Studio Paint. I think Clip Studio Paint is a really good program, but Clip Studio Paint has the exact same amount of RAM in use as Procreate. Procreate just has the limit where it tends to crash, so they put a cap there. But if you kind of go to that area in Clip Studio Paint or in Photoshop, because I have Photoshop on this thing as well, where you tend to crash, it will crash. So you can either like take that limitation or not, but the hardware capabilities don't change depending on what application you are using. For example, when I was making that treehouse painting, the line art was so massive that it didn't allow me to edit the line art in Procreate. So I edited that in Photoshop, but it crashed all the time. It crashed several times, but I knew that I only need to do one action in Photoshop, and I need to get that line art out of there to use for later, because I really wanted those lines to be like super crisp after I got the colors out of Procreate. So for that instance, I had patience. Hi Mikko from Pakistan. Hey. So many comments. I'm trying to read something so that I don't ignore you guys. Guys, am I the only one who doesn't get notified by the app when Mikko goes live, even though I put the notifications on? I guess I can't answer that since I don't get notifications when I'm going live, obviously. For some channels, it helps if I do some comments afterwards. The more you interact the channel, the less likely it is that the algorithm hides it. Actually, now that Tommy, you mention it, I remember that in these, because these lectures that I am attending about basically YouTubing, they are done by Google themselves. And somebody was asking this question that do all of my subscribers get notifications when I do, was it shorts or video uploads? And somebody said this like really basic common sense thing, and it was the Google people, that if that person is already getting tons of different notifications from Google, then obviously they are not going to spam that person with notifications. So even if the notifications are on, even in that category, there is this algorithm where Google uses its brain power to think that like how likely or how big of a channel or how interesting this content is, are we going to send this notification to everybody or just few people? So that depends on your personal view and interaction history. So if it's a channel that you have engaged with by watching it or commenting it on those videos, then Google is more likely to suggest that type of content for you. I think it kind of makes sense, but I always thought that like everybody gets notifications when you have notifications on, but it's the people that Google thinks that are most likely to watch that content after their suggestion, and it also is time specific. So if a lot of channels that you are following make or post content at the same time, then it has to prioritize those somehow. It won't send you 200 notifications about everything that is happening on the platform. For me, the most interesting thing about these lectures is to see other video creators there and just see how they manage all of this stuff, because it's so nice to just to be able to talk shop and see how other people deal with the whole content creation, because it's so much to learn. Even when doing this live stream, I was so stressed because I have never done one of these scheduled live streams before, and I think that was one of my goals for the month. If anybody has seen that video that I posted for members earlier, I wanted to learn how this system works, but the danger with this system is that like I schedule a live stream and then something happens, or that I don't understand how this live stream system works. And I did mess up this live stream when I started, because I started the live stream and it looked normal on this screen for me, but then I noticed that there is this new button that appears that says go live that I didn't have to press before when I was just going live without that previous announcement. So in that first 2 minutes, I thought that things were fine. I just didn't notice that it didn't start the live at the scheduled time. I'm also thinking that maybe I should try studying different streaming platforms, because I am still using OBS for streaming, which is supported by Google, but it's this free program, but there are some issues with it. Sometimes it doesn't make the camera work for some reason, and the only fix for that I have found, remember, I'm not a tech guy in any way, so the way that I fix this is that I just shut down OBS and I start it over and over again when this glitch happens, and sometimes it just works, and then I leave it on. But if, for example, if I schedule a live stream and then I'm in that situation where I can't get the camera to work, that would be terrible. It's like a known issue. There is already like a FAQ on it on OBS page. But if it's causing me this much stress, maybe it's worth looking at these different options. Like, for example, a lot of people use this Streamlabs, which I have only opened once, but it's pretty important to have a webcam when you do live streaming, so I don't know. If I can reduce my stress when it comes to this live streaming stuff even a little bit, I think it might be worth the effort in the long run, because I want to keep doing this. Which brush are you using for this painting? Honey brush. Okay, Astrid answered before I managed to notice that question. Where do you get your inspiration? Always the same stuff. For this, obviously. But it depends. I think recently I've been inspired by just the need to create spaces that for me feel like safe and relaxing. Maybe it's because of my work schedule. I don't give myself that much free time. It's easy to feel on this platform like you're never doing enough. Like no matter how hard you work, you always still do a little bit more. And at least I definitely feel that way. How long do you think you'll make YouTube content on art? Currently, my plan is to make YouTube stuff as long as I can afford it. Honestly, that's the goal. That's also the time pressure. I feel like I need to make this work, and I have a limited amount of time to make this work. So I guess that's the pressure. If I was just doing YouTube for fun, then I don't think it would be that stressful. But it's still stressful to make content because it's a lot of things to do. But at the same time, if I was doing the same amount of commissions that I was doing before, I don't think I would be able to make YouTube videos because there just wouldn't be enough time. I have sent a proposal for one project that I would love to do illustrations for, but I'm gonna have to see what they respond. But if they accept my proposal, then that's like a lot of work that I need to do on top of YouTube stuff. But it's not a permanent job, it's a project. During the pandemic, when my previous place of employment fired everybody in the department, and I was at that moment when I didn't have a job, then at that point everybody was like super supportive that like, yes, you should definitely start doing freelance full time, like now is the right time to do it and you can definitely do it. But all of those same people who were like saying these things to me, like being super encouraging, like all of them, when I have talked with them since that happened, they always start the conversations with like, so have you found a job yet? Are you looking for a job? Like, I always feel like you told me to do this. Be supportive. How's the beginner drawing challenge for November you mentioned on Instagram going? You mean beginner to advanced? So I make these art lessons on this channel for the channel members, and that series is called From Beginner to Advanced, and they are not painting videos, but they are lessons on art and painting. And this month the lesson was different because it is an assignment that is based on the previous theory of those previous art lessons, and also including this new way of doing color design or 3 different ways. Anyway, so that is the topic, and people can make their own art on it. And then at the end of November, if enough people join that challenge, I will do an art review session on those paintings, and we can look at what people have made. But I don't know if like that part is gonna happen. It depends on if people join early enough or not. That's something that I'm trying. But if people don't join, it will still be like a super valuable lesson, and that's why I included that in the series, because even if somebody joins the membership later and sees that video, it will still be valuable information, and it's still a good challenge to do like over and over again. Also, that method is something that I use all the time, like especially in these live streams when things can get out of hand really quickly. You really inspire a lot of people with your content. Oh, thank you, Miracle Novelist. That's a nice name. I hope you do it forever. Yes. If I'm honest, I really like doing this. I don't think I would put up with the stress at all if I wasn't so passionate about doing this. Yesterday, I was talking with my friend who started the conversation this way about you should get this kind of a job, or have you found a job yet? And I told him that in those jobs, nobody knows who I am when the project is done. People will scream at each other about the color of a font or the placement of buttons. And it's just that kind of stuff that I just can't bring myself to care anymore, like at all. I would rather do design and art that I feel like brings some joy to people's lives and has some purpose. And honestly, I want people to know that like I exist and I made the work. Because when you're working in a company, nobody knows what you did in that project if they are not using your name to sell the project. You just get lost in there. And I don't want that for myself. And even though like making videos might be like a lot of work, it's like really exciting work. Like there's nothing more fun than like tinkering with an edit and then figuring out like some sort of like a creative solution to a storytelling problem, or when you learn something about the editing tools and it just suddenly makes life easier, and it's just so much fun. for example, in the beginning of this live stream, there is this completely useless that nobody cares about kind of a timer that I made about the Procreate video file of my dumb little sketch for this painting. And I love doing that stuff. I love editing the timer and putting the music together and editing it so that it fits the theme and like doing all the effects. It's just so much fun. I mean, honestly, there's nothing else that I would rather do. So in a sense, like I wanna reiterate that like even if this work can cause like work stress sometimes, it's stress that I am choosing to have. Like I know that I would have other options if I wanted to, but this is like the kind of work that I love doing. And also the kind of interaction that I get with other people, it's completely different than in anything else that I have done. Like, for example, this week, I got this really thoughtful, nice email from one person who said that they have started making art again after watching my videos, and they didn't want anything. It was just some guy thanking me and telling about this like impact that their newfound love for art has given them. And it's just those moments when I feel like, okay, maybe my content is not like 100% for everybody. I'm sure that some people would love this channel to be like all about, I don't know, hardware reviews or editing tricks, that stuff. But the people that connect with the content, and when they contact me, like it feels like I'm doing stuff that actually has a purpose, and that really motivates me. It motivates me so much that I don't think there could be too much work for that reason ever. I guess when you make content, you can never make it for just everybody. There's this one great talk from Seth Godin. I love his books, by the way. Seth Godin said in one of his talks that like if you do enough target audience research, then all content is reduced to porn in the end. So if you start catering towards whatever the target audience research is giving you, then you kind of end up making porn anyway. So at some point you have to have some creative input and have some ownership of your content and say that like, okay, this is not for everybody, this is for those people, and it's if I talk to them specifically, then I can really help them. But if I take the attitude that like my target audience is everybody, then I'm helping nobody. I may make some like entertaining content, but it's not really reaching people can you tell us more about this beginner to advanced series? What will it teach us and how do we sign up? So I don't have Patreon, and the reason why I don't have Patreon because it's not legal to be in that system from this country, Finland, where I am living in. So I have a YouTube membership, which everybody can sign up from, like basically this channel. I think I have that sign up form, that link in every description. I'm not sure if it's in this description. And I make membership specific or exclusive content every month. And I thought about it a lot when I was making the membership, because I know that a lot of these platforms, like Patreon, for example, like in their PR videos, they are always saying that like you don't have to do any extra work, you just put all the extra content for your fans to see, and there it's done. But of course, all of these videos are meant to sell the platform, which is like either YouTube or Patreon. So people actually want to have content. I know that, but I wanted to make a membership where I wouldn't kind of put myself into this treadmill that would burn me out. And I know the best way that I can be productive and most helpful to the people that support me this way. So I decided that I want to have only this one thing that I can like promise that I will continue, and it is this beginner to advanced series, which is kind of video format lectures on art techniques and art theory. A lot of it is the kind of stuff that I often teach in like concept art classes, but now that I haven't done any teaching, I thought like this is the perfect way for me to make that same kind of content for people who want to see it, and like give it in a like more affordable price, because in the private schools like those prices can be quite steep. Also, nobody is going to kind of monitor the way that I give that content, so I am free to talk about the stuff that I want. And the best thing about this is that I have learned, because whenever you are teaching pretty much anything, you always learn yourself in the process. Like teaching is learning always. And I think the best moments with that whole system have happened quite recently. I don't remember which talk it was. I think it was about detail grouping, like that talk. I think it was a talk about details, a beginner to advanced video, where the content of that video is something that I had just recently figured out. This is not something that anybody taught to me, but then I learned how to read compositions better after that, and it has improved my own images. Like just for the fact that I had to write that talk. I was talking about details in the first draft, but when I kept working on the script, like I had this like whole aha moment, and it has completely changed the way that I compose my own images. And I see like that composition technique in other paintings as well, so it is universal, but I've never heard it. Anyway, like it teaches me as well. Just because like I can give a talk on composition or color or brushstrokes doesn't mean that I'm going to be like 100% perfect at them all the time, and I don't want to put that type of pressure on myself. sorry, I need to focus on painting every now and then to make sure that this is also... So the brush set that I'm using for this is my brushes for painters set. Did I set this as a clipping mask? I did. Don't have to worry about accuracy here. How am I doing on time? Like, we're just over 1 hour. I know that the colors are super muted, but this is going to give me like a lot of editing room later on. I'm going to try to punch those up a little. I know that it's looking a little bit crap right now. That's life. I think in this phase of the painting, you can either keep building the building blocks or kind of get nervous about the lack of visual impact, but you can build up to it and then it will be more effective. Or if you don't have the patience, then it can be pretty harmful or later on in the process. It's so easy to paint yourself into a corner. Miracle Novelist is saying, I've always wanted to be an author, one to bring joy and wonder to people's lives, and to be known for something and leave some kind of legacy. Yeah, I know that it might sound kind of vain, but it is important. I want people to be able to kind of contact me when they have these experiences with art. Like, it is surprisingly important. Doesn't mean that I need to be famous, but I need to have like a ability or at least potential possibility to have communication with you guys who like see my art. Because if I just throw it out into the void and then there's some sort of like a company and let's say Sony in between, and they are, of course, always saying no to all the communications between like developers and consumers, then you are never given that opportunity. How much time it takes to complete a painting? I've always lost interest doing a piece more than a day. I found that it's better to go into the painting process without expectations. Because I do get those feelings too, that like when a painting process has gone on for a really long time, I notice that there is this sort of like a childish temper tantrum inside of me that wants to say that I just want this to be finished already. But the painting is here. It's not here when it's done. And clearly, if the painting is not done, I haven't really experienced the possibility that it can offer me yet at all. And when the painting is done in a way that I am satisfied with, I don't get bored with it. I know that this is also one of those things that you shouldn't say, especially if you are Finnish, but I don't hate my old paintings. I have some paintings here that are like covering my entire walls that are more than 10 years old. And well, I think they're fine. I like them. That doesn't mean that I'm kind of pushing them down everybody else's throats. I don't assume that anybody else should like those paintings, but I like them. I don't think the things that I did when I painted them have somehow gone bad over the years. A painting is not a milk carton. Having them around kind of reminds me that painting itself is fun. When it's done, when the painting is published, like the experience of painting, it's over at that point. For me, one of the best things about having this YouTube channel is the ability that I get to spend more time with my paintings, like in so many like fun ways. I really like that aspect about all of this. I think this song is called Moonlight, and I like it so much that I'm not going to ruin it by talking over it much. Mikko, how do you stop yourself overworking individual elements within a piece of art? I struggle to know when to stop. I recommend having like ideas of like, for example, how you build your details to come up with formulas on what level of detail is appropriate for that area and stick to that formula when you're like this close zoomed in, because you can't evaluate the entire painting all the time. Then if you stick to that formula when you are zoomed in, then you won't accidentally like make too many details that will ruin your painting. This is one of those topics that is covered in my painting without line art in the last hour. Also, it's like difficult topic because details are something that are I think they can be kind of harmful to talk about without the proper context. So for example, if I made a video about painting details, I think it would be hard to emphasize before that topic in a way that people understand the gravity of that comment, but how important it is not to like ruin the painting with details, and how all the other elements are more important than the details. So the composition that you have going on in your painting, it should never stop being the most important thing about your painting. Even if you have happy accidents that look great in some areas, if they don't serve the story or mood of your piece, like they don't deserve a space on the canvas. And those can be like difficult choices to make at the beginning. I'm gonna make a note layer. I thought it would be so much worse. Like, what? Okay, so when I wow, I'm like missing all the super chats when I'm painting furiously. Sorry. Where is the music playlist from? I made this for the video series, but I'm talking through the entire hour of it, so I wanted to use it as a playlist for this. Thank you, Frank. Thanks for being you. That's so kind. Yes, like YouTube does pay me for the super stickers. Your answer was really helpful. I don't have much structure to how I create, so I will try to look at that during my next piece. Do you like cubing. What is cubing? I'm sorry, I just don't know what that is. What is cubing? Tony Seames joined the angry mob. Welcome. Congratulations on the paw. Why do we often forget to blink when we paint to draw? I don't know. I've noticed that I have this crazy eyes grin when I get excited about some area of a painting, or if I'm working on a character and they are in a pose or they have a facial expression, then without even realizing it, I can have like that facial expression on myself for a really long time, and it looks really creepy in public places. Hey everyone, I finally made it to a stream. Welcome. Okay, so for a few of you, you probably noticed that there was this for a few minutes, this live stream was visible before I even started. So my goal is that I can schedule live streams so that you guys know when I'm going live, because I know that for some people it's really annoying that I always do these sort of like ninja live streams, and when you notice that it's happening, then it might already be gone. And it's only because, well, I'm trying to get better at this. So with these notifications, maybe you will see that I'm about to go live in like the next day or in 3 hours. So if you really want to see it, then you can kind of like prepare, or at least know that it's going to happen. I know that YouTube allows to make these own notification systems. Like for example, when you see one of these, this live is going to happen in X days, then you can use the YouTube app to make yourself a notification about it that is automated by Google. At least I have done it. I know this because I did it for the first time when this Animal Crossing live stream happened. And then I thought like, hey, wait a minute, this is really handy. Why is this not a thing that I do on my channel? So I can't guarantee that I can do like every week at the same time a live stream, but I can promise that I will try to make these announcements beforehand. Hei! Tervetuloa! Kato! Mulla on täällä sun tämmönen nappula. Onks se? There's a small black fox floor, and I have my pockets full of dog treats. Okay, I'm gonna fix that corner because right around here, there's a lot of contrast, and it's happening right at the edge of this painting. So that's a big composition no-no and needs to be dealt with. Didi, tänne. she's going to need some attention at some point, but I'm gonna try to keep painting while she still seems relatively satisfied with life. That was a lot of things happening quickly. Let's see, what's my coffee situation? Good. Thank God for these massive cups. The scheduling would be great. That's how I knew this was happening today, so yeah, it works. It's nice to hear, because I can't see how this channel looks like for people that are not me. Because when I go to my YouTube page, I just see the creator view, and it doesn't look like normal YouTube channels to me. So I appreciate the feedback. Like, if something doesn't work, I appreciate it when you guys tell me so that I can fix it. Please tell me your dream address on AC. I can get back to you on that. It's a code for an island, right? But is it permanent? Like, if I look it up, is it the same always? By the way, my island is very boring, but I love it very much. I've spent hundreds of hours playing Animal Crossing, but that doesn't mean that I have spent that time making my island look like super awesome, because I kind of appreciate the natural look that it had in the beginning, so I would have felt like weirdly bad about making big changes. But now when these big updates happen, by the way, when the thing was released, like from the release day, I have been waiting for the coffee shop all the time. So I was literally like screaming and crying when I saw that the coffee shop is coming back. It's so important to me. Also, they are bringing back the original music from the coffee shop, which I love. I like Animal Crossing music like a lot, like a whole lot. But there's like one tiny thing that I don't like appreciate that much about the new Animal Crossing, and it's that like all the different themes are doing that specific game theme. In the previous installments of Animal Crossing, the music had a bit more variety in the game, but in this Animal Crossing, they just made the theme like be part of like every different time of day. But if you listen to the previous soundtracks of Animal Crossing, you will see that the music is like super great, and it has a bit more variety. This is the stuff that only becomes apparent when you have played like 200 hours of Animal Crossing, so I'm sure that most people don't care. But I like the music in the new Animal Crossing as well. It is just as well made as the previous ones. I've recently had this massive Zelda binge thing this year. Few months ago was the first time that I played through to the end my favorite game of all time, which is Breath of the Wild, of course. Previously it used to be Ocarina of Time, but I hadn't even finished Breath of the Wild, and I thought like, okay, this is like so much better, that this is my favorite game now. But I didn't feel compelled to finish it. I played it for a really long time, and then I just quit it. But this time when I played through it, I played it in the harder difficulty. There are 2 difficulty modes, and it just felt like the right time to finish it after I had found all of this 120 shrines. The DLC shrines were the most fun. All of that. Anyway, so after I played through that, I played through Skyward Sword, and I have never played any of it before. It took me a really long time to get used to the controls, but once it clicked, it was a really great game, as Zelda games always are. And yesterday was the release date of DLC for Age of Calamity, and it's a very specific type of game for a specific type of a gamer, but this is one of my favorite Switch games. Definitely. I have now played over 200 hours of Age of Calamity, and I'm not a big Musou game fan. I really didn't enjoy the previous Hyrule Warriors that much. I thought it was okay, but the way that the battle system works, it feels like Platinum Games made a Musou game. So, like, the harder fights feel really reactionary, and it doesn't feel as button smashy as all of the other Warriors games that I have played before. And the music is excellent. Like, I really love the whole soundtrack. can we complain about your false advertising? You are too cheerful and smiley to be called Angry Mikko. You should see me when I'm talking to Adobe Premiere Pro tech support. I have made few times these sort of like rage tweets about Adobe Premiere Pro crashing on me all the time. And it's really stressful, especially when you are making a sponsored video that needs to be done at a certain deadline, and then the program refuses to work. And they have this one specific problem that I have complained about before. And on Twitter, when you complain about Premiere, you will be contacted by this Twitter account that is Adobe customer support. And they say that, like, please let us know what your tech specs are and specifications for this problem, and we'll do our best to help you. I like some Adobe products. I'm a huge fan of Audition. Actually, Audition is the only reason why I am subscribed to Creative Cloud. If I didn't have Audition, I don't think I would be able to like run this YouTube channel. So I don't have Creative Cloud because of Photoshop or my video editing software, but it's because of the audio editing software, and I really don't want to start learning a new one. But anyway, my problem with Adobe, and then this is when I get to be a really angry Mikko, is when I have complained about that one issue. I have, for example, in my previous tweet, I have linked to only one of the several threads on their own customer support pages where people have this issue that has been in Premiere for years and years. And when I make a comment about this problem existing, it really annoys me that they comment like this is a me problem, that is somehow specific to the graphics card that I'm using or the PC that I'm using, because I've used Premiere for years and years, even before I went freelance. Back when I was in the video game industry, like I was using Premiere already then, and already then on different graphics cards, on AMDs and NVIDIAs, that this problem already existed. And when you go to Adobe Threads, there are hundreds and hundreds of people who are looking for answers to this, and there are no answers from Adobe customer support. And that last tweet ended like, I said to them that like, please answer to this thread because hundreds of people are looking for the same answer as I am. I'm only one guy. You could help all of these hundreds of people. At any moment, this thread spans like to 2018. From before then, you don't see records of these customer support threads. But there are links to threads where they are talking about the same thing from 2015. At any moment, you could go there and help all of these people. And they said that like, we will answer you as soon as we can. And lo and behold, in the link that I gave them, there are no new posts, especially no posts from Adobe customer support. Like, I hate this, like this whole scenario so much. Like, it really does make me mad. Also, who asks for you to post your PC tech specs on Twitter where there is a character limit? I am running 2 PCs. And I know that this isn't the fault of that person who was answering this tweet. Their only job is to do this sort of like damage control online. it's not their fault. I'm not mad at that person because they are just doing what is basically their job. But I do think that Adobe could at least do is to add this glitch that I have mentioned in the known issues, because pretty much everybody who has used Premiere at any point in their lives knows that this is a bug that exists, and you have to work around it. You have to take it into consideration when you're editing, or otherwise it will crash your project. So it's not like it's something like new that I'm giving them new information. I'm sure that they know it. Urgh. And somebody who is working at this sort of like customer service job in their Twitter section, of course they don't have any power coding skills to go in there and fix that problem, and that's not what I'm expecting. If you are thinking of starting a YouTube channel, and I highly recommend that you do, I would recommend DaVinci Resolve. If you see comparisons, DaVinci Resolve kind of outperforms Premiere in pretty much all aspects, especially when it comes to rendering, and that takes up the most time when doing videos. Leah Buiti, I'm already sorry that I said that out loud. I'm sorry. I'm sure that I butchered your name. Do you have any advice on anxiety over posting artwork or starting to share your artistic journey? Yes, it's not the advice that you want to hear, but I'm going to say it. I've always talked myself out of doing it, but I enjoy creating so much. So the advice that you probably don't want to hear, but it's the honest truth. And I remind myself this every time that I feel this way. I tell myself that nobody cares as much as I do. Like, they definitely don't care. When I was younger, I used to think that people care so much, and the decisions of what I did choose to post online and what I choose to not post online like somehow matter. But the only thing that matters in those cases is that when you're not posting your artwork, you're not... Yeah, it's like harmful in many ways. I would recommend that you just post absolutely all of your artwork that you do, and you will get used to it, because over time you will notice. Even when you start to get followers, at some point you will see that, wait a minute, nobody actually cares. And I think I'm saying this not to discourage you, but this is the thing that helps me post my art, because I know that I'm the only person who puts these like impossible standards for myself on what kind of art I should do and what kind of artist I should be. But my creativity doesn't care about any of that stuff. It just wants to do like everything really. And if I start editing out what to post and what not to post, then those creative ideas stop coming to me, and it will be only aligned to the things that I feel that are proper to post. Like, for example, the whole dilemma of me starting this live stream, what I said in the beginning, that I felt like maybe this live stream should be about Procreate's next update or the 3D capabilities. But if I start thinking that way, I won't feel inspired to do anything at all soon, and then nothing gets done. But there are people out there, you might not know them, but your art might have an impact on somebody else, and you don't know what that impact could be. I already told this story in one of my previous live streams, but I once made this like completely silly painting called Bunny Heaven. That was just like funny, but it got some surprising attention because people shared it and so on. And then I get this email from this girl who was like writing about her. She was a young girl and she was writing about her dead bunny, and it was an account that was set up by her mother. Anyway, this painting was really important to somebody else, not me. And if I had that attitude that like I'm not gonna post it because it's a silly painting, I wouldn't have posted it, and it wouldn't have served this like important purpose in somebody else's life. Because your art might be a product of your imagination and the thoughts that you are experiencing and the memories that you have, like all of those things are mixing up in your head and they end up as paintings. But once the painting is done, your art is not only about you. If you let it have that opportunity, it can have that important purpose in somebody else's life. It can bring joy, or it can be a stepping stone for their own imaginative thoughts when they see that. And if you take that painting away from them, if you take that opportunity away, I really don't think it's the right thing to do. And I can't give better explanations for why that is. I think creativity, it always feels like a gift when you get to the end of it. When you have a finished painting and you see the story in it. For me, it would feel selfish if I kept that to myself. When I post my artwork online, it's not because I think that somebody... I don't think that somebody desperately needs to see my art, but somebody might be at that time online and see it when they need to. So I would be taking it away from them. I posted an awful looking rose with a poem saying that the art was crap. I think it was one of the images people liked the most recently. I don't recommend talking bad things about your art in the descriptions of your art ever. Like ever. If you can stop doing that now, stop doing it now and never do it again. Honestly, I mean it. And I'm saying this because I'm trying to help you. Yeah. When you're posting your art, and this goes to all of you, like, don't say bad things about your art. Don't. Especially in public, like, it doesn't help. Because when somebody says, like, some compliments to you about it, then you don't believe it. Or you feel like you don't deserve it, or you think that they are saying it only because you talk negatively about your art. But if at all you can avoid it, try not to say negative things about your art when you post it online. I know that this is like really, really difficult. That's also one of the reasons why in that previous art challenge that I did, art from comfort zone, that was one of the rules. And I got so many DMs during that art challenge when people were doing the art challenge and they followed 2 of the 3 rules. But that's the one rule that most people failed on, that in the description they talk about their own art in a negative way, and then they would send me DMs that like, why don't you feature my artwork? And that was the one rule that I didn't want to be flexible on at all. Because I put that rule there for a reason, and whenever I do an art challenge, the purpose of the art challenges is when I come up with an idea that can help most people in the most effective way. That's the reason why that was part of the rules. Marre Gamer is saying, I'm joking a little bit. At the same time, I'm just offended when people use light mode. Well, there's a reason for using the light mode. It's because I tend to paint really dark. So if you paint dark, you choose the light mode. But if you paint really light, then choose the dark mode. I would choose the gray mode if that was an option. Hey Mohammed. Miracle Novelist saying, I kind of want to draw translucent sea creatures. Paint jellyfish. Like, you can't really mess up a jellyfish. Like, they're barely a shape anyway. So I think you can take a lot of artistic license with those. These circles, as somebody was asking, they are the notes that I made when I flipped the canvas. I mean, these circles. So this portion I already fixed. This portion I already fixed. When I flip the canvas horizontally, I kind of see the mistakes. In a more clear way. getting a visitor. No moi. Yksi hakee tää sulta nappulaa. Kato, täällä. Mulla on kanakeksi. I have chicken cookies in my pocket. Vivi likes to come to this room when I'm not here, because she likes to explore under the table and especially look at all that stuff on this couch chair that I have, because sometimes she finds treasures like my socks or other stuff that she's not supposed to steal. I'm trying to read the name. Yuli Mibz. I don't think that's pronounceable by my mouth. Interesting. I also like gray mode in Photoshop, but in Procreate I bounce from dark to light depending on what I'm drawing. Yeah, that makes sense. I think if I have, for example, a graphic design commission thing that I'm designing, like for example, if I'm doing sketches for a logo, which I haven't done for some time to be honest, then I would switch not just the background of the piece itself, but I would switch the entire UI to make sure that the logo reads in both contexts, especially if I have colors in it, which in my logos I almost never have, because I always try to design them with black and white version in mind. Bad Art Tangent is saying, Mohammed, why did you delete your question? It was a valid question. I didn't get to read the question, but thank you, Mohammed, for the shout out. If I see your question, I will answer it. But I'm sorry that I missed it. I was just painting. Did you say that she's a fox? Yeah, I think Vivi looks like a fox. I think foxes also have very similar mannerisms, their movements. Vivi, mä kuulen, että sä hyppäsit jonnekin ja sun ei ole tarkoitus hypätä siellä yhtään mihinkään. Tuu tänne näin, saat toisen kanakeksiin. Tule. She's jumping on couch and she's not supposed to jump on it. Sometimes when she wants attention, there are endless ways that she can get it, and she knows it. Vivi, tule. Hyvä. I can lift her up if people haven't seen her. Sorry. Let's check the chat. I just found out about this channel a few weeks ago. I do enjoy your vibe and art style. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you. Hi Mikko, sad is saying, I want to say if I want to start visualizing colors for scenery, my mind is always set on dark colors first, then lighter, more opaque, since I'm used to seeing shadows first. Yeah, I think for me it works the same way. For me it's always easier to kind of paint the darkest colors first and then work my way up towards light. Also, that is easier for me to avoid white color or high saturation colors when I'm kind of painting myself into a corner and I don't have enough editing room. I appreciate hearing you talking in Finnish to your dog. I try to surround myself with language as much as possible to help with learning. It's a complex language, that's right. Thank you, Mohammed. If I missed your question, please write it again. I promise I will answer it. Have you ever done any art based in Finnish folklore? Yes. Yes, I have. Have you introduced your name to your dog? I don't understand the question. Vivi is named after the Black Mage in Final Fantasy IX, which is my favorite character in that game. Show us the child. Yes, dogs are awesome. There are two. Sorry, I probably haven't been able to distinguish between them. Different items. Okay. Sorry. Vivi is a Welsh cardigan corgi. So there are two types of corgis. The ones that you have probably seen that the queen has, she has Pembroke corgis, and Welsh cardigans, they aren't as poofy. They have, my friend called it a bit more wild look, and I think it describes the look of Welsh cardigans a bit better. Looks more like a fox. Foxier version of corgis. The strange thing is that like these areas are quite close together in England. The areas where the two different dog breeds are originated from. Considering how long it takes for dog breeds to get to the shape and look that they have, I think it's strange that these two are kind of two separate species at all. When I was younger, I used to have a Newfoundland dog, which was a big black bear. No, Vivi is not a corgi mix. It's just a Welsh cardigan corgi. How do you feel doing art? Do you feel stressed doing it or no? As a beginner, it's stressful. Well, if I'm completely honest, I'm most stressed about doing live streams. I think that was the thing that for me was really stressful in the beginning. But after doing so many of these by now, I feel like I'm a bit more relaxed. In the beginning of this live stream, I was stressed about the technical details, but not really about the painting. That doesn't mean that I always feel like confident about the painting turning out okay. Sometimes it's kind of awkward when the painting clearly needs like a ton of work after the stream is over before I can even publish it. I know that these colors can be pushed like into a really extreme directions because there is just so much possibilities with this whole setting, but I kind of like muted colors, and I'm used to understanding what the visual possibilities for art are. When I see the painting in this phase, I understand what I can do after I have enough time to polish all the details and sort out the brushstrokes. So I can kind of see the potential here already. This is not one of those live streams where I feel like hopelessly trying to put something together. I think if you want to see me in that phase, you can go and look at that live stream where I painted that. Is it a cat or bear or bunny island? I think it's a bear island. Where a boat is approaching an island and it has these bear ears. I'm surprised that that painting turned out that well in the end, and it was insanely successful on Instagram. But to be honest, when I was painting it during the live stream, like my internal dialogue or monologue was just like, this is really bad. This is not just a bad painting, but this is the worst painting that has ever existed in the history of the universe. And I tried so hard not to say that out loud. I remember that was like difficult. It was so stressful that it was hard to concentrate on even like fixing the painting in the live stream. But somehow I managed through that session as well. Sometimes it can take a really long time before you get over that hill when the painting starts looking like it has some hope. But it always comes at some point. When it hasn't arrived yet, that just means that the painting isn't finished. So I don't leave paintings unfinished. That's why I try my best not to work on multiple paintings at the same time, if I at all can. Because I don't want them to start filling this sort of backlog, and then I would always feel guilty that these paintings aren't done yet. And when it comes to learning, I don't recommend leaving paintings unfinished when you feel like this didn't work out. Like when you go in and like really try to figure out what it is that is not working, or how can you like change it in a way that it starts looking interesting to you. That's the point. And only then, when the actual learning happens, like blocking it into that phase, like that's not helpful for learning art, but solving visual problems, that is when you get better as an artist. I don't know if I want to add eyes to this creature thingy, manta ray. think there's something interesting about just the shape flying through this space. So maybe I will paint in an eye, but I will try to kind of not focus too much on it. Oh, that was the question by Mohammed. Okay. Yeah. I used to feel... Also, I know that this doesn't sound convincing, considering that it's coming from me. But even when I had been working already for years professionally as an artist, I couldn't paint at all when other people were looking what I was doing. Like, that to me, like this whole situation to that version of me would have been just like unthinkable, like completely unthinkable that I would be able to get anything done when people are watching in real time what I'm doing. I'm dead serious about this. I know that it doesn't sound like a person that would start a YouTube channel, but that was me at one point. And I'm not saying this because there's like some other story that is going to come out where I explain that all you need to do is to start a YouTube channel and all of these problems will go away. But the way that I kind of grew out of that fear, and this isn't really something that you should focus on because it might take a really long time and it's not that important. But I kind of stopped caring what other people think. I realized that I love my art. It doesn't have to be pleasing for everybody. And if I make bad paintings, then it's fine, because that's the price that I am willing to pay for the ability to enjoy my art at all. Because there was this point where I have been so stressed about creating art and thinking about what kind of art is okay to upload to my portfolio and so on. What will other people think? What will the game companies or the production companies in Finland think of me? Like, there was a lot of stuff that goes with there, like stuff that I don't feel comfortable talking about here. You can watch my purple video, like it's easier when it's pre-recorded. But those feelings, I thought that like this is preventing me from actually making art when I'm so invested in my ability to be employed by the work that I produce. Like, this is actually taking away everything that I love about this whole thing in the first place. And if it's taking away everything that I enjoy about making art, then what's the point? Like, what's the point, really? Then I started working on this sketchbook, where I just started doing these different doodles, and I used markers, and I decided that like I'm just gonna start an Instagram account at that point, and I'm gonna post my stuff there. Like, somebody asked earlier like what I think about DeviantArt, but I had a DeviantArt account. My art is still there, like it's really old. But at that point I thought that like I can just post like random sketches on Instagram because it's not like a real portfolio or anything. And I love doing that. And the fact that nobody was following me, it was so liberating. and exciting that I could post artwork and I would get like 5 likes or something. I remember one day when one of my drawings got, I remember the exact number, it got 30 likes. And I thought like, wow, this was fun. I'm like having this secret life as this sketch artist, and this secret life is having its own like little small scale successes. And at that point, it felt more meaningful than any of the actual work that I was doing. And it's true that I realized that it's more important to preserve this relationship with my own art. Like my relationship with my art is more important than having other people liking it. And it motivated me enough that then I just started making art in a completely different way. Oh my god, I need to cough. Sorry. So I started making art in a different way. Dear Lord. And I built a completely different kind of audience. My god, I'm dying. I'm sorry. So, what I'm pretty sure that happened is because I found this like personal joy in creating art. Then other people started noticing that joy in my art. I stopped getting comments. I used to get like all the time these comments where people were telling that they are jealous of my skills. I stopped getting those comments completely because I wasn't trying to impress anybody anymore. But I started getting these comments that people started writing me that they feel inspired by my art. And I feel like that inspiration that they felt came from the fact that I had found a way to enjoy my own art. And it was visible in the way that I painted. And it wasn't intimidating. Like I wasn't like using all of my fancy tricks in every single piece in a desperate attempt to like be somebody who is respected by people who I was working with. I just stopped caring about them and their opinions. I know that when I'm kind of explaining it, this whole process in a few minutes, it sounds easy, but like there was like a year of therapy through this. There was a huge like mental breakdown and like complete crisis of like how I found this new version of myself that I actually liked. So it wasn't easy. I have often said when people ask me what is my favorite artwork, I don't really have favorites, but like during that time, I made this painting that is called "Ever Since That Day, the Horses Have Been Happier," and that's a crazy painting. That's the kind of a painting that no concept artist who is thinking of leaving their job and desperate to build a portfolio that would gather headhunters to be attracted to that kind of artwork would ever make. Like, I think even to this day, I think when I made Ever Since That Day, Horses Have Been Happier, like, I look at that painting and I'm so damn proud of myself. Like, I feel like that's brave art. Like, that's something that a brave person does. And I'm like really proud that I'm actually that person who has painted that painting. And especially proud, this wouldn't mean anything if I hadn't published it right after I painted it. And I remember how scary that felt. Like, even on that like unknown Instagram account that I have posted, it was just like, can I really like be this person? And then I just pressed the button and it was like, yes, I can. And the world didn't explode. And I just felt so excited that I had given myself the permission to make pretty much whatever kind of art I feel like doing. Hey, it's 11:20 p.m. here. That's late. Like, this is like sleeping time normally for me. It's 9 here. So this is late. I go to bed like an old grandmother, honestly, most days. Especially if I've been running, which is most days. I know that I keep switching to the smudge tool, but like you really don't need smudge at all with this brush, because if you tilt it sideways and press really lightly, it will automatically blend the colors. Don't repeat my mistakes. Photoshop or Art Studio Pro? What is Art Studio Pro again? That's not Sketchbook Pro? I don't know if I have used that ever. I'm from Mexico. I send you greetings. I'm super fascinated by your art. You are one of my artists who inspire me the most, and I am watching all your videos. Well, thank you, and hello to Mexico. I hope that I can visit Mexico someday. Thank you very much for adding subtitles. The truth helps a lot, because I do not, I guess I do not speak English. I use the translator. Yes. I've noticed that Google, like the YouTube subtitles, are like really amazing these days, but sometimes they can take a few days to appear. So if I'm uploading a video and you want to watch it with subtitles but they aren't available yet, just give it a few days and they will happen, because the whole process like takes sometimes some time. But when they appear, like I usually don't have that much to fix about them. The only thing that Google can't pick up is my name. Like whenever I say my name on this channel, it's just like, what? What is this language? Halloween special coming up. I don't really have anything planned for Halloween. I honestly just wanted to paint underwater stuff now, so that's why I did this live stream. I would love to paint more ghosts and witches, but I guess I don't need to wait for Halloween to do that. Okay, I think I need to start wrapping up the live stream. I was kind of wondering what is happening in this corner, but I guess I have made enough live streams that I know that my brain is kind of freezing up. I just thought that the painting needs like one more accent color, and I think this reddish hue is it. But what purpose will it serve? That is still undecided. I think also I will probably add a lot more of these fish in the painting because they are an easy way to give movement to the whole piece. And once I have like a big school of fish, I can kind of make it sparkle in light in areas where I want. Okay. I know that we have like listened to the same playlist twice now, so I think that's also a good reason for me to stop. I kind of enjoyed this playlist, to be honest. maybe a bit too relaxing for me, because sometimes I was just really in the zone of painting this thing. And do like some really quick peeks. You can see that where I'm going with these colors. Okay. Definitely stopping now. Can you see how addicting this is when I get into this mode? I really can't stop. How long will this painting take to finish, do you think? I think I can finish it tomorrow if nothing unexpected happens. Whether I will post it tomorrow is another thing. My 10-year-old is loving this painting. He loves all things underwater. Great. I'm gonna take that and use it as an excuse to paint a lot more underwater things, because I love painting underwater stuff. I was actually thinking about if I should do another jellyfish painting, but I'm gonna do at some point. Like, there's no limit to how many jellyfish painting is legal to do. How do you just paint without reference? I looked at tons of manta ray images. Actually, I think manta rays are really difficult to do, so that was like the scariest aspect about doing this. I'm still I need to fix like the perspective of this whole silhouette, but because the silhouette is so organic, it's really difficult to make it look symmetric. So that was what I was most afraid of, because in this short time span, I won't have time to notice like symmetry errors that I would notice when I have more time. So that's why when things like elements like these are done, I usually try to give the painting maybe a day before I get back to it, because then I will like notice all the mistakes when I flip it horizontally. That's why I don't flip the painting horizontally all the time, because then I will get used to the both orientations of the painting. So the purpose of the horizontal flip is to notice my own mistakes that I grow blind to by just watching the painting for so long. Sorry. I hope I'm not making people nauseous. Do you have references up on another screen, or are you winging it? All the details. I had references of manta rays in Google search when I was doing the sketch, but like obviously I don't do like realistic paintings. I think I could like punch up that yellow a little bit more, but I see it on another screen. Like, yeah, like why don't you like go all out with it? I'm gonna go crazy with it. Like, it's fine. Like, oceans can glow. And I'm gonna need more red as well, now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, this stuff would be brighter. Okay, I'm gonna focus. Is it possible to find this playlist on Spotify? Absolutely not, because this is the playlist that I have gathered from 3 different music services that I am licensed to produce content for this channel. And I actually had to contact the lawyers of these 3 different companies, because this is going to be music that is in my video series that is about painting without line art. And it's a process of this one really long painting process. So I had to make sure that I can use that music there, and it was difficult. Is there a reason why you use Procreate in light mode? Yes, because I paint dark. That's the reason. Okay, did I answer all the questions? I'm sorry if I haven't answered all the questions. Much love from Russia. Hey neighbors. I'm gonna do the awkward thing and end the stream, but this time I'm gonna end it through a different button than I have done previously, because now I have gone through this YouTubing course, so I know how to use this stuff better. Okay, and the next time that I do a live stream, I'm gonna do one of these like announcements that I'm going to do a live stream by posting the video, and in the video you will be able to turn on notifications, so you will be notified when the live stream happens. But when I do that post, you will already see when the live stream is going to happen in your local time. So I think that makes these much easier for everybody. And thank you everybody for joining this live stream. I appreciate you, and like really it's you guys why I like doing this stuff. Like otherwise I could be doing pretty much anything else, but having you here, like doing all this work is fun because I feel like I'm doing it with all of you. Do you have any tips on how to better spot problems during my final pass in my artwork? Cory, I see that you're an Angry Mob member, and I think this would be a good topic for a tutorial. I will think about it, and I will give you a more concrete how-to tutorial on that, because I think that's a good question. I'm actually going to take a photo of it so that I don't forget. Okay. Schedule those videos, your lives will get more views, I think. Well, I think this is nice, because when I started doing these lives, like nobody was watching, and I do mean absolutely nobody was watching these, so this is a ton of viewers already, and I'm really happy that you guys showed up. Okay, I'm gonna stop rambling and end the stream so that my log of fur can have the love and attention that she needs, and then she will get some more kibble and a walk outside. Okay, see you guys in the next video. Go and paint stuff. Bye.